On this episode of Making the Movie, it's Without a Paddle. It's man versus nature.
The action in this movie is so extreme. We're not going down.
I'm just gonna lube up before the big swim.
When three friends go looking for treasure.
So these guys take this treasure map and take off on this crazy madcap adventure through the backwoods of Oregon.
They find themselves up a creek.
We got about 6 inches offshore and just completely capsized.
That brief moment of panic where you realize that there's a 1,000-pound monster beast laying on top of you.
I'm in over my head!
Don't tell me that!
No! That's it, this is over! I agree. Let's just swim up that waterfall, back over 20 miles of river, and wait for a rescue boat. Hey, a beer!
My name is Matthew Lillard. I play Jerry Conlon in the movie Without a Paddle.
I won't play the role of nagging girlfriend anymore.
Nagging wife make you happier?
Oh, dear God.
I play a 30-year-old guy who's got a great girlfriend and a great job. And in the opening frames in the movie, there's 4 friends from high school, and one of them dies tragically in the opening moments. And we all come back to be his pallbearers.
Is that the corpse of Billy Newman? Jer, is that you? You with Dan? Where'd you guys park?
And we discover that going through our old tree fort that he has created this treasure map to what he thinks is D.B. Cooper's treasure. D.B. Cooper was the guy who jumped out of an airplane in the 70s and stole all this money, and they never found his body over Oregon. So these guys, in this kind of impetuous way, take this treasure map and take off on this crazy madcap adventure through the backwoods of Oregon.
Just passing through?
We're just taking a trip.
You make a couple mistakes up there, you gone.
Tom, you're a Boy Scout?
No, but I had a brownie once.
Hey, what's up, MTV? It is me, Seth Green. I play Dr. Dan Mott. Dr. Dan is a very complicated guy. He likes to be in control of things, likes to map and plan everything out, doesn't like a lot of spontaneity, and is not the hugest risk taker. I'm afraid of cellophane.
Like saran wrap?
Dr. Dan was not interested in taking this trip at all.
I have responsibilities!
I hate you guys. Dr. Dan responds to being coerced into things through sheer brutality.
Stay calm. It won't bother you if you're in the fetal position.
Abort the fetal position!
Help me!
Hey, I'm Dax Shepard, and I play Tom in Without a Paddle. And I am sweet and hilarious. I'm a screw-up. My only possession is a Harley, and I have a gambling issue. And my saving grace is that I have a real affection for ladies, an affinity.
Tom, do you see anything or not?
Oh, that's it. Cleaner.
Hey, I'm Steve Brill, director of Without a Paddle.
Ready, guys?
It was really important that we get 3 guys who kind of act like they're best friends forever, and that's not something you can manufacture that easy. Seth was someone that I'd seen, and we all had seen a lot of movies, and sort of kills when he comes into movies, and Mike Myers movies, and kills, and then leaves, and you're like, wow, that guy, man, I'd like to see a whole movie with him. And so we kind of wrote this role for him.
Yes. It's an indescribable vocation, you understand?
Matt's kind of a really cool, funny guy and a trained actor, and I wanted to like cross him over into like the leading man comic, leading man type thing.
Ain't it glamorous? Dax. Ain't this just the life?
Dax is just the wild card, and Dax is this guy who came off punked and just has completely his own sensibility.
The long and the short of it is this. He's very supportive to actors, and he lets guys do what they do well. That's a very important quality in a director. He knows how to make a celebrity out of a comedian.
What are you guys
I've
talking
seen it
about?
happen.
What's that? What are you guys talking about?
We're just running our lines.
It was kind of annoying how everyone got along so well, actually. It was like there was no friction, there was no drama. It was just sort of fun times and good times right away. And that was pretty cool, pretty unusual for movies, actually.
I'd say the most extreme challenge on this movie has been the water work.
I really had no idea just how physically taxing this would be. I had an inkling that it was going to be hard. I thought I should be in good physical shape.
You read the script and it's a comedy, it's a big comedy and it's funny. But then you look closer, then you see them on these Class 5 rapids and going over these waterfalls and then getting chased on these ATV. I mean, the action in this movie is so extreme.
When I read like the part in the script where it's like, oh, and he jumps over a waterfall or this happens, I just
that part is not the job I think I have, or my job is to be funny. Literally, I didn't even think about the canoeing in the rapids or the ATV stuff, any of the stuff we ended up doing.
We did river training. We were trained in how to paddle canoes and steer canoes, which is so much more difficult than I ever would have thought. I didn't realize just how hard those are to control and how unstable they are. And
I'll never forget the first day, they were like, you have to put on a wetsuit. I'm like, why? It's still water. We, of course, get in the canoe, then I put on my wetsuit begrudgingly, and we get in the still water, and Dax and I flip over within 30 seconds of being in the canoe.
I brought a little wetsuit today. The first day I was gonna wear jeans, gonna be in a little wetsuit.
The water was like 38 degrees and it was miserable. I was so glad they forced me to put my wetsuit on.
I think it's very clear that I separated myself from the boys, established myself as the man on this shoot.
Oh, I'm cold. This sucks. Blah, blah, blah.
Here's me, like, bring it on, put some ice cubes in it, I don't care.
I care. Augie, AKA the Fijian Nightmare, who is the, he's a, I think he was a professional. I know he was like a tournament rower, and he is just the biggest badass. He gave us the best instructions along the way and made us feel really safe.
We began with 3 days here at, on some flat water in Wellington, and then we spent a weekend up in some pretty nice white water in the middle of North Island, New Zealand.
Fast current today. That's what we in the know call it.
I'm just gonna lube up before the big swim.
I think some of the fears you'll see on the screen are real, and some of the elation is genuine. And you know, when you run a Class 4 rapid on the back of a camera raft or a canoe, whatever it is, it's an achievement that you can't take away from anybody. And I think that's one thing that's going to show out in this film, is that genuine emotion.
It was a great experience because the rowing also brought us together. I mean, Dax and Seth and I learned very early on that working as a team would like help us survive. And I really think that helped informed us, not only as actors, but like, you know, the characters in the film. This movie, every day, has been a different challenge. I mean, tonight, we're working with Bart II. And if you've never been that close to like a 9-foot bear, 1,000-pound animal, it's pretty extreme.
It is so amazing to be able to be that close to an animal that size and just look at the way it moves and stands. And it's so playful and gentle, but you have such awareness of the fact that this is essentially a wild animal.
And Bart on set is so fun because there's no cage, there's nothing, and he is so distractible that it's hilarious to watch him because he can stay focused for about 18 seconds and then he just goes off into another world.
And Bart has no idea. Between 1 and 1,000 strength, he has no barometer. He doesn't know if he's just gently touching you or murdering you.
Well, first of all, you know, he was an orphan. He was wild. He was running around in the wild for 4 months. He was with his mother, and his mother was shot, and he came down. He didn't want anybody touching him initially, and so the biggest challenge was, of course, for the first few years is sitting and petting and calling him to you and giving him confidence and things like that, because, you know, he wasn't bottle raised.
And when he and his trainer are just kind of playing around, I saw Doug at one point get underneath Bart, and Bart's on top of him like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And you just hear Doug go, easy, Bart. And you hear like that brief moment of panic where you realize that there's a 1,000-pound monster beast laying on top of you. In this scene, Dax is trying to prove to us that he can catch salmon with a flashlight, and inadvertently runs into a bear that chases us, and I fall down because that's what Dan does. And see the bear behind me, weep uncontrollably, and picked up by my fanny pack, the very thing that is supposed to provide me safety and life, now turns against me and is a tool of my demise as the bear carries me off.
But instead of mauling him or killing him, the bear nurtures him and takes him back and thinks it's his cub. Tries to feed him dead animals and stuff like that.
It's good.
Cut.
So along the way, we get really lost in the woods, and the only signs of life that we find are these farmers.
We come across this compound, this like backwoods compound of these guys that are growing this illegal crop.
That's weird. I think we should get out of here.
Wait, I'm not gonna leave the only hint of civilization we've seen for miles.
Yeah, you were right about them back at the river. These are not the guys you want to mess with.
Oh, God. Where are you going?
And we end up going to have to run for our lives from these kind of redneck characters played by Ethan Suplee and Abe Ben-Ruby.
I'm completely in love with Ethan Suplee. I'm making no qualms about it. My girlfriend understands that he and I are falling deeply in love, and that's just how it's gonna have to be. And then Abe, yeah, is 6'7", 350 pounds, and the nicest human being on the planet.
The three fellas that come across Elwood and I's barn, we see them in the barn and start shooting at them because trespassers are bad.
Ready, gang?
Yep.
And action! Walk forward. Good, very good. We go racing out the back of this barn. This whole barn is being shot up, and we don't have a way out. And Dax and I grab Seth and throw him out the back of the barn, and we go racing out as these guys are packed with like all these, you know, AK-47s and tons of guns, and they have dogs, and they start chasing us through the movie. And the whole movie, I mean, they've got grenades, heavily armed bad guys chasing us the whole film.
Our three hero boys have constantly evaded us, and they've gotten to this cabin, log, rickety cabin up on the mountaintop.
And Burt Reynolds, who plays his character named Dell, shows up with a shotgun and leads us back to his shack. And it's kind of like the savior in the middle of the movie. I'm sure Dax will go on forever about how amazing Burt Reynolds is, because Dax is secretly in love with Burt.
Burt Reynolds is easily my favorite star of all time. Like, even on the TV show Punk that I worked on, I actually said it in several episodes. Every time I'm on, like, you know, a talk show, I bring him up. I am obsessed with Burt Reynolds.
I knew these guys were really good because my son, he just couldn't care less that I worked with Henry Fonda and Jimmy Stewart. He's terribly excited that I worked with a guy from Scooby-Doo and Austin Powers. And he told me about them, see, so I knew that this must be good.
For three young actors to have the privilege to work with someone who is as legendary as he is was such a treat.
It's a little bit of a wink to the audience, you know, that it is Burt Reynolds for those who recognize him. He's fairly unrecognizable in the movie because of what he looks like.
He's just a crazy old bastard living in a shack. He was D.B. Cooper's partner and was waiting for D.B. Cooper to show up, and D.B. never showed up, so he just hung out in a cabin for 30 years. So by the time we meet him, he's a little bit mad, a little crazy.
The weary woodsman Dell takes us in and gives us some good clothes.
I want you to put some clothes on.
Oh. More of your own.
Thank you.
Oh, more of your own homemade fashions.
I wouldn't mind wearing one of these deer pelts if that's...
I'd get dressed faster if I was you, because I've been alone in this cabin for 30 years. His wardrobe, of course, he went there in the 70s. He took with him all those things that we thought looked swell, which just are so silly now.
Nice T-shirt, JJ.
That's my J.J. Walker T-shirt. Dynamite.
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 Dynamite!
That's too big.
At one point in the story, our three heroes are lost and traveling through the woods, and they come upon these tree nymphs, as Tom calls them, that have kind of taken residence in this huge redwood called Earthchild. So they bring us to the top of Earthchild, and they nourish us with grubs, and they clean us up in a rainwater basin, and they wash our clothes. And it's actually it's a funny bit in the middle of the movie.
I play Flower, and my friend Butterfly and I have been living in this tree that we've made into a beautiful tree house. And we've been living there for 287 days because we're trying to save it from being cut down and destroyed.
Butterfly's a little more hardcore on her issues, and she's been doing this a little bit longer than Flower.
I shimmy up a tree to see if I can find like some kind of a point of interest maybe that we can aim towards and are trying to get out, and I see two girls bathing.
Not in a very lesbian way, but just in a kind of like, hey, you're best friends, let's get naked and wash each other kind of way. And initially I think that we were afraid. We think that they're coming to hurt our tree, but then we realize that they're cute and harmless, and we get excited to have them up in our tree.
And then they end up, you know, trying to give us a massage. It's just everything you dream. It's so obviously written by a guy. What he'd want to find on a trip in the middle of nowhere lost.
Dan's not really too comfortable around women, but we meet these beautiful girls, and they're supposed to be the inspiration for my bravado in those scenes. I'm a doctor, you know, so I usually do the touching. Yeah. Well, I've been told I give a very good calf massage. If you want to roll down those stockings, I could give you one.
Stockings?
Leg warmers?
I'm all natural.
It's supernatural.
You know, I think in the beginning, I wanted a movie that was fun and people would have a good time seeing. And now, after working on it for so long and going through the process and seeing a lot of the film, I expect a lot more out of it than just being a silly comedy.
I think this movie is just a really thick, you know, action adventure behind all of the funniness.
The waterfall scene's enormous. The rapid scenes are enormous. Us flying off the ATVs into the rivers and all this stuff is so much more spectacular than you see with most comedies.
I think this movie is really good for a laugh. There's a lot of funny stuff in here. And on top of that, it's not crap. It's not stupid or cheap or cheaty or phony or, you know what I mean? We're not stretching to make jokes. We've got a real, valid sentiment that just happens to be presented to you in a very funny way along the way of doing something important in our lives.
I mean, it has a lot of heart, and it has real-life circumstances where these guys are going through these things. And I really think it's going to strike a chord in not only like guys and teens and young America, but like across the board. Who would you like working with, Skippy?
I liked working a lot with Matthew Lillard.
Did you like it? Was it fun?
I did. I spent many a day rubbing on his enormous pectoral muscles and stroking his fantastic biceps.
Do you think he's got a future, that Matthew Lillard?
Not only does he have a future, he has the most enormous manhood I've ever experienced.
Who would you compare him to? Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, what?
Tom Cruise crossed with Ron Jeremy, but not quite as obese and full of hair.
Can you say that on MTV?